going on YouTube? It's your boy, Brandy Boy, back at it again with another Fallout 4 video. For this video, I'll be showing y'all how to transform the Commonwealth into an epic, deserted wasteland. Summer is now upon us, and you know what that means. It's time to suit our game to the weather. But all of these mods will take it to the extreme. After all, patrolling around a nuclear winter for so long almost makes you wish you were in the Mojave. To start, there's two great desert mods to choose from. Desperados Overhaul and Badlands 2. Or if you really want to have the best of both worlds, you can combine them, which is what you're seeing right here. I'll go ahead and show a comparison so you can see for yourself just how stark the contrast is between this and vanilla. So yeah, as you can tell, the difference is quite dramatic, and while it may not make a whole lot of sense for Massachusetts to be a desert, you have to admit, it does look really good. Well, you could come up with some kind of reasoning. Perhaps the nukes dropped during the Great War scorched the earth and left it dry and desolate. And now, only 200 years later, do we see some vegetation returning. I don't know, I'm not some nuclear fallout scientist. All I know is that this bundle of mods makes the Commonwealth look absolutely beautiful, and a whole lot more fun to explore. And before I move on, make sure to install the Badlands and Desperados level of detail patch. You'll need that so distant objects from both mods match up with one another. Also, with this overhaul, it's not just one big desert. You'll notice different regions, especially in the southern part of the map, which will be a piney forest. And yes, that includes the glowing sea too. You can also add in the True Grass mod if you want a more lively, lush desert. A compatibility patch is already included in the Badlands mod page, so you don't have to worry about that part. If you've got a keen ear, you may have heard some interesting background noises throughout the video, and that's from the Ambient Wasteland mod. It adds in a bunch of new ambient sounds to the game, from snakes rattling their tails to gunshots in the distance. It's a simple yet effective atmospheric mod, and it fits perfectly for this desert overhaul. As you saw in the comparison, you should also try out Natural and Atmospheric Commonwealth. It adds in a whole lot of visual and lighting features, while also overhauling the weathers, and adding in new ones. To really make things pop out even more though, you should also try out an EMB, if your computer can handle it, that is. I'm using Decent Plus, as I showed earlier. There's plenty of others you can try out, but this one has always been my favorite. With both NAC X and Decent Plus, the lighting will be sharp, clear, and vibrant, and when combined with the desert terrain, it makes for an amazing, aesthetic experience. During a bright sunny day, the sand dunes will reflect light, making them almost blindingly bright, while the shadows will stand in a dark contrast. While it is a bit dramatic, it's not far from reality. Really, I bet you could show someone a screenshot of this game and they would think it's a real photo with a few little fancy effects added onto it. It's perhaps a bit too good looking though, so it'll really drag your frame rate down. I found that Decent Plus EMB is the biggest offender, and it can drop your FPS by about 20 to 30 frames, while NAC X deducts about 5 to 10 itself. On the upside though, Desperados and Badlands will have the opposite effect, boosting your frames by about 10, but adding in True Grass will offset that bonus. It's a bit complicated, I know, but basically the desert terrain mods won't hurt your performance. The lighting mods are the only ones to be concerned about, so if you've got a monster machine, then maybe you don't have to worry too much, but if not, then I suggest playing without an EMB. Either way though, I'd really suggest you keep NAC X because it introduces some awesome features and crazy weathers to go along with it. Once you got the mod up and running, it'll add a little configurator to your inventory, where you can change up a whole slew of visual settings. There's plenty of other filters and lighting effects you can toggle, and while you're here, you can also mess around with the weathers. The first thing I would recommend doing is banning snowy weathers from the game, because this is a desert after all. But hey, that's up to you. My favorite part about this mod, besides the lighting, are the new rad storms, which can only be described as absolutely apocalyptic. The best one though is the Fallout Storm, which will drop nukes randomly around the map. It's one heck of a spectacle to behold. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually blow up the city and leave giant gaping craters. The only effects are visual. Perhaps in a way, it can be an illusion of sorts. Maybe the radiation is just creating a hyper-realistic hallucination. One way to make the storms have an effect though, is to use the gas mask of the Wasteland mod. I already covered it in a previous video, so I'll be brief. In short, this mod makes the outside air toxic and irradiated. If you breathe it in, you'll die in a matter of seconds, so you'll have to wear a gas mask with filters to protect your lungs. There's a setting though, where the radiation effect will only work either during regular storms or rad storms, so you can pleasantly stroll through the desert on a clear sunny day, but you'll have to suit up when a storm rolls in. NAC X has plenty of different storms and weathers, but it is noticeably missing a dust storm. So if you want that, then you should try out the True Storms mod. I will say though, this is technically incompatible with NAC X because both mods edit weathers, so be wary of any issues or potential crashes. I can't say I've noticed any problems yet though. They seem to be working together just fine for me, but I'll let y'all know in the comments if I run into any problems in the future. Other than that, True Storms overhauls all the vanilla weathers, but if you ask me, all I care about for this playthrough is that sweet dust storm, because this is now a desert after all. And if you want to see that weather more often, then you should download a mod called Desert-like Weather Chances. I don't have much explaining to do here, it simply increases the chances of a dust storm appearing. So it's a nice little addition to have if you want a hardcore desert experience. Now that we've got all of that out of the way, we can move on to adding in some new animals to fit the desert environment. And by that, I mean we'll be bringing back some creatures from Fallout New Vegas. The first one I've got here is called Classic Deathclaws. It replaces the boring Fallout 4 Deathclaws with ones that fit the same aesthetic from New Vegas and Fallout 3. And here in this Fallout 4 Desert Overhaul, they fit into the environment quite nicely. The second is Mojave Geckos. Not only does it add in a wide variety of geckos to the game, but there's also a side quest you can do, which will grant you your very own pet gecko. As an added bonus, you can now craft a classic leather armor from gecko hides. Next up is Mojave Mantises. I don't have much to add really. It simply adds in the giant bugs that we saw in New Vegas, and they make for yet another immersive addition to this desert overhaul. For one unique aspect though, you can craft a unique weapon from their legs, the Mantis Gauntlet. Lastly is Nightstrikers. They're not the exact same as Night Stalkers from New Vegas, but they are a similar kind of wolf and reptile hybrid creature, and they still make for an immersive addition to this desert playthrough. Well, that and they also make exploring the waste a bit more challenging, because they are some really tough foes to face. Alright, those are all the mods on this list. Before you leave though, you may want to take a look at my load order. This is my current setup, and it's running pretty good so far. I definitely recommend you to put all the weather and terrain mods at the bottom of your load order, to avoid any problems with smaller mods overriding them. As for the creature mods and any other mods not shown here, their placement shouldn't really matter too much. If you ever notice any problems with this load order though, and find a better one, then let me know in the comments. And if you've got any other terrific mods that would make for a great addition to this bundle, leave a link down below and I'll have to check it out. Other than that, if you liked the video, then go ahead and nuke that like button, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And I'll see y'all in the next video.